keeping me in my yard continuously. Okay. Got it. All right.
Excuse me.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, we were just ending the meeting.
You're good. All right, well, welcome to District 14. Tonight is Free Toast Host Night. And we have the awesome, amazing, and if you don't know it by now, our Toastmaster of the Year, Debbie Thompson, to take us through how to open a ticket, mentoring tools, and club emails. Enjoy the training. Debbie?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you. Thank you. If I could ask you to help me watch the chat while we're going to see if we have any questions. And Miss Gloria, you can stop us anytime you have a question. Well, I'll have places where I'll stop and see if you have any questions. So tonight we are going to talk about club emails. There are a lot of mentoring tools in Free Toast Toast that I don't think a lot of people know about. So we're going to talk about those. If you have a mentoring program in your club, you may want to start using some of these tools to help you out. Right. And then because Free Toast Toast is not supported by Toastmasters International, I wanted to show you some support documents and how to open a ticket if you ever have to do that or you have an issue. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I did want to let everyone know that we are recording this session. This is our district disclaimer, and I'm sure you have seen it before. If you want to just look over it real carefully, we're just saying that we are using this image. We are recording this program, and we'll be distributing this to District 14. And we want to make sure that you are giving us your permission to do that. You are consenting to it. And if you can read over that real quickly. Okay. All right, so let's go into, here's our agenda tonight. And we talked about this a little bit, but we're going to talk a little bit in more detail about club emails and how you might want to use those. We are going to talk about many of the features in Free Toast Toast that can help us track and record and keep up with our mentoring program. And then we're going to look at Free Toast Toast support, give you some examples of things that you can look at. And then I opened a ticket about 45 minutes ago. We're going to take a look at that and let you know how you could open a ticket if you need to. All right, so let's start with our club emails. Now, this is kind of small. I hope you can read it, but basically, Free Toast Host has provided us with emails that we can use to group members where we don't have to create distribution lists. We don't have to know people's email addresses, personal email addresses. Free Toast Host does that and groups them behind the scenes, so we don't have to know everyone's email address. And so we can use these groupings in order to send emails to our club members and other things. And so we're going to take a look and talk about a lot of these in detail, but over on the right-hand side, I've just pulled up the groupings that they have, that there's an email address for. And if you look at the top right, the URL for Free Toast Toast is your club number, and then it's .toastmastersclubs.org. That's how it makes everybody's URL, website URL unique, where this 999 is your club number. And so you will see that we have a active members email address. We have one for all of the officers. We have one for individual officers like VPE and VPM and treasurer and secretary. We actually have email groups for mentors and proteges. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And then for things like open houses, things where we want to invite people to things, we've got a lot of other groups that we can use, and that is former members, guests, prospects, and friends. And then, of course, we have one email that's a general email for the administrator. So we don't even have to know who the administrator is. If we want to send that person an email, we can use this administrator email address. And you'll notice, if you can see, I know it's very small, but if you notice the emails over on the left-hand side, it's made up of the group dash, and then it has your club number at toastmastersclubs.org. So it's the same format as the Toastmasters Club's URL. All right, so let's take a look at a little bit more detail here. So how would I use the member's email address? And here's an example of an email that's going to all of our members. This is all of the active members that we have set up in Free Toast Host. And so if I wanted to let people know about what the next theme of the meeting is, I could send an email to our members, and I don't have to know anybody's email addresses. This will go to all of the active members on Free Toast Host. Now, one thing you might want to keep in mind, though, is Free Toast Host and Toastmasters International are not linked in any way. So if you have a member who didn't renew and is not officially a Toastmaster, but you still have him on your Free Toast Host addresses as an active member, this will send an email to all your active members, and it may not be in sync with TI. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, it's a great way that you don't have to know people's emails, and you can send other club members information. There's also one for officers. That's the one we're looking at now. So one example of using this one might be if you are the secretary and you want to send out all the officers the last minutes of the executive committee meeting, you can simply use the officer's email, and you don't have to know anybody else's email or make any kind of distribution list. And these come from what is set up in membership management, where you have your officers listed, you have all your members assigned and things like that. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about these groups and possibly how you would use them. There are, as we said, groups that you can use to send emails. You have one called prospects. This is generally, I think about this as people who are interested, but maybe haven't visited our club yet. And you can typically get these from someone filling out a contact us form, or occasionally we get emails from Toastmaster International where somebody has inquired about our club and want to know more about it. So we know these prospects are interested, and we may have members, family members that we say, they're prospects, but they haven't come to a meeting. They haven't, they're interested. They may be interested, but they haven't necessarily come to a meeting yet. So you can you can add emails to the prospects list, but that's the difference between prospects and guest. Guest is an email grouping where you can start entering guests as they come to your meeting, and you may ask people to, put their email and contact information in chat. If you have somebody in your club, like the VPM or the secretary, who can take those emails and put them into the guest format, then, excuse me, you would have an email group that you could send an email to. Former members is just that. This is people who maybe have not renewed with your club, or they've transferred and they were members before. And so this is a recommendation from Free Toast Host. Never, ever delete a member unless it was a mistake, because what happens is if you delete a member, you also delete the connection to all of their history. If you've been keeping track of speeches that they've done, roles they've done, things like that, if you simply move them to former members, you still have all of that history behind them. And so that can be very helpful. And it is very, very easy to pull a former member, if they rejoin at some point, pull them back into the members list. So that's very easy. Never, unless there's a really good reason that you want to delete somebody, instead of deleting, put them into the former members list. And then there's a group called Friends and Affiliates. I haven't seen this one really used, but the way I was thinking it might be used is perhaps you have people that are very important to your club and you want to be able to notify them but you know they're not necessarily going to ever join your club. This might be people that you want to put in as your area directors or your division director, or maybe you have a sister club that you're very close to and you do a lot of competing with each other, but you know they're never going to join, so you may put them in a friends list. It just gives you a way to send an email to these people without having to go back in and find all their email addresses and things like that. So it's a grouping to let you pair all of those emails together. And then finally, in Free Toast Toast, there's a way that you can customize a group. An example that I could think of here, and I haven't done any, but an example might be that you have a committee, you have a new member orientation committee who works under the VPE, and you want to put all of those emails and everybody on the committee and the chair into a custom group so that you can send emails to them and not have to understand their email addresses. You know, you do it put them in one time, and then you don't have to create any kind of distribution list again. So it's just an option for you. A lot of people don't necessarily use it, but it's there if you ever want to. All right. So let's see how I might use all of these lists. This is an email that I want to send to our former members. We're having an open house. And what better people to look at than people that were members of your club at one time? And you might get, maybe you have a homecoming meeting or you have a reunion meeting. You can send those former members an email and not have to look them up or understand their emails or create a distribution list. It will pull everybody from that list. And if they have a valid email, it will send an email to them. I might also want to let my guests know they've come before, so I know they're interested. I may want to let them know we're having an open house, and so I send out information to them. It's the same with the prospects group and the friends group. Again, just to let them know you're having some kind of ceremony or celebration or open house or special meeting that you want to invite people to. And so all of these are set up in membership management, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Do you have any questions about any of these groups so far? Or maybe how you might want to use them. We recently had an open house and were able to pull the former members list, and we got a lot of people come back in and visit us again, and didn't have to really know their emails. We just used this email address.
Actually, I do have a question. Hey, Debbie.
Sure, hi.
Sorry I'm late. But you now have a flyer attached to this document. How did can you share with us how you attached the flyer?
It's just I dragged and dropped it in. This is
okay.
I use Yahoo, AT&T Yahoo. So I had the flyer, I just pulled it in, or you can, it's however your email, whatever email you use, how you add photos like that. I just wanted to show.
I see. Okay, so this is an email and you have the list, you pull the list and add it like you do from your regular Yahoo
Yes, right.
list.
So
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. I was just showing an example of how you might want to use these email groups to send out something if you were having a homecoming or a reunion meeting or an open house or something like that. Okay. So it's however your email works for things like that. Okay. There is an option. There always is another option in Free Toast Toast where if somebody completes a contact us form, you know, those are on the front home page, and you can have guests, we'll see the form in just a second, but you can have guests fill out that form and send information to you. And so there is an option that you can say, if anybody fills out that contact us form and there's a box they have to click, but it would automatically add them into the prospects group. That is the default, but Free Toast Toast gives you the option that you can say, well, I want these people to go into the guest group or the friend group, or I don't want to save them at all. Okay. I don't know why you want to not save them, because that can be a good resource for you to invite people but normally that's going to go into that prospect group. Okay? Is that confusing anybody? It gives you some options, but if you don't do anything, it's going to go into the prospects group. And so let's take a look at, well, I thought I had the form. Okay. I must not have. I'm going to go look at club emails. And before we do that, any other questions about these emails? Let's just do a demo real quick. There's really not a lot that you can do with these club emails, to be honest. Let's go into, this is my Henry County Toastmasters group. Can everybody see?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I've signed on as myself, and I'm also signed in as the administrator. If you are on the home page, you can see under the members only section, here is that email, club email address. Here are all those addresses we just talked about. So if I click here, you can see this is that chart. It's got the members, the officers. So if you forget what's available, you can just click on that email, club email addresses, and it will take you to this. Oh, it will take you this page, and you can see all of the emails that you can use. Okay. Not a lot you can do here. There's not a lot of options or anything else. It's just here are the emails. And then if I go behind the scenes, I'm logged in as the administrator. I want to go behind the scenes and see what it's got. I'm going to go into emails and contact forms. All right. And I have to go over and look at my club emails. There's a club email address tab. You can see that this is exactly the same thing we just saw. There's not a lot of switches or options or anything I can do here. It's just got a list of these email addresses. So it's pretty straightforward. It's like I said, pretty straightforward. Not a lot you can do as administrator for this. It's just those emails are available to you. Okay. All right.
Debbie, for the prospect email, does it generate the letter? Does it roll over? Or do we have to put it, if somebody go to our website and it's contact us?
Right. So let's do that. I'm going to go to see what, so under the main menu, this is all public. So I don't have to log in. If a guest or a prospect is coming to your website and they want to contact you, they would simply choose the Contact Us tab. And here is the form that comes up. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see when they contact you, they have to put in their name, their email address, how they heard about you. They may give you a message. And remember, I was saying that there's an option they have to click. At the bottom of this form, it says, check this box to be included in future emails, meetings, and events. So they are giving you their permission for you to send them emails.
Okay.
If they check, this is the box I was telling you, if they check that when they submit the form, it will automatically go into that prospects list for you.
Oh, great.
So if you have that, I think it's a wonderful option because they're telling you, they're giving you permission to send them information and emails. And then Free Toast Toast just automatically says, okay, I've got their email address. If they put their phone number, it will populate everything. It just goes ahead and puts it into prospects. So if you haven't checked that group, you may want to go out and see if your club has anybody listed in that prospects group, because they might be a good way for you to get back in touch with those people and say, we're having an open house, or we'd like for you to visit at our next club meeting. And it may give you some really good, strong addresses to use. And you're doing it because they've already shown interest. They submitted a form. And so this is just a good way to keep up with some prospects. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
It does. And my last question is this now. Are we allowed to check the box for them if they don't do it, or Or do we, or once we send them an invite, can we just put their information in since they didn't check the box for it to populate in the other area?
That might be something that that would be a good follow-up, Gloria, that you could actually get in contact with them and say, you know, we'd like to add you to our list. I
Okay,
think it's the reason they don't automatically do it all the time is because it's a security issue, and it's making sure that that person wants for you to contact them. And by checking that box, they're saying, please, you know, contact me.
they're
So
giving you permission to do so.
yeah, exactly. So you have their permission, but you can always, if you do contact them and they say, sure, I don't mind, I would add them to that prospects list or the guest list or something where you have their information for future use.
Okay, thanks.
Good. All right. Good question. All right. So we've really looked into, I think we did everything we were supposed to do here. I'm going to come out. There's not a lot that you can do as administrator or officer to the club emails. Let me just stop sharing and go back into Free Toast Toast. Okay. Now that is club emails. Let's go into, well, here we go. I thought it was in there. This is the contact form. Again, we said, make sure they check this box and they'll go automatically to. Now, so this is something that I opened the ticket for. And this is an email, a business card that Toastmasters International gives you a format for. You can put anything you want to in here, but you'll notice that whoever is the president and the VPM actually put their personal emails here. Okay. If we go into, so the thought, excuse me, guys. The thought that I had is if we're going to our club is going to print up these business cards. If we could use the generic president and VPM email addresses here, then we wouldn't have to reprint these business cards every time, right?
Right.
All right, so, but there's a catch, and this is why I opened a ticket. Because if I'm going to stop sharing here, I'm going to go back into Henry County. And I want to show you something. All right. Okay. And this is all about permissions and everything. If I go into this club email address again, let's see if I can expand it a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. All right. If you are concerned that somebody can just hack into your emails, there are some rules around who can send your members an email. If you go up here under information, it says the members email list of your list of all current members. Any current member can send messages to this list. However, it checks to see if your email is a valid email as part of this group. So I couldn't just, if I know, you know, somebody's club number, I couldn't just start hacking all their members and sending all them their emails, because if you use this email address, it does check to make sure your from address is in the list. So you are part of this group, and that's what's keeping it from, say, you know, somebody just hacking into your emails. Does that make sense? So it's going to check that. However, if we look under here, under the individual president, VPE, VPPR, treasurer, blah, 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 it says these are publicly accessible and that anyone can send an email to these email addresses, but each one could be disabled. So there's a way in the officer's profile that he can say, I don't want to get any of these. But that said to me that these are all private, that you have to be a member in order to use them. This is public. So that's why I thought, well, let's use it as a, you know, business card. And that would be a great opportunity for us to, in that situation, I could hand out business cards for my club at the conference, and people could get in touch with me without knowing my email address. Okay, but
Now, Debbie, when you are not in that officer's position anymore, then what happens?
Well, see, that's the beauty of it, because and that's why I'm saying if somebody else takes over as VPE, whenever
Right.
you set, whenever you set them up in Free Toast Host, you're going to change their officer role because they're a new officer. You're going to change them to the new VPE, right?
Oh, okay, right.
And
So,
it would have their email. That's why I'm saying on a business card, you wouldn't have to change it. You could just keep handing those out because you're changing the behind the scenes. You're not changing the business
Right.
card.
right.
However, I tested this. I sent somebody in a totally different club an email to their VPE with their club number, and I asked them to confirm if they got the email, and they said no, they did not. So
Okay,
that's why I opened a ticket, and I'm hoping that Free Toast Toast will let me know why it's not working. Does
Oh.
that make sense?
yeah,
If I
because
find out,
if they're in that role, then because it's just that position and the club address, then it should be applicable, right?
exactly, you change it in Free Toast Toast. That's part of, the changing of the guard. That
Right,
the next administrator will come in, the next VPPR will come in, the next, all the officers, you may have the same role, which is fine. You won't change them, but if you do change officers in Free Toast Toast, it will follow them, if
right.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
But I couldn't get it to work. So if I can get it to work, I will send you guys an email and let you know that we can use it for business cards.
great.
And that's a way just to explain all of that. But there are a lot of ways that you can use these emails. I just wanted to show you that. So let's get into mentoring. And let me see. All right. Were you all aware that there were actually mentoring tools available? Did anybody know about these? Okay.
I've
All right.
seen it where it said mentoring, but I've never explored it.
Okay. So these are just tools and features in Free Toast Host that I don't think a lot of people know about, but if you have a really strong mentoring program, this just helps you track these things. And I just wanted to show you some of the features so that you can talk to your VPE about it. If you're not using it, it might be something you want to take a look at. So one of the features is that there is a mentor protege request form, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. There are assignments. You can assign people together, and there are reports that you can run. We're going to take a look at those in just a second. The club emails, we already mentioned those, but there's a mentor club email and a protege club email. So that means that you can send, maybe you wanted to send all your proteges a notice that there was going to be new membership orientation training. So you wanted to send everybody who's a protege a notice about that. You could use that club email, and you don't even have to know who's a protege, who's a mentor. It will take the group that's assigned as proteges and send them an email about that. Okay, so it's just a way that you have an email group that you can use to send emails to this set of people. And then finally, there's something called mentor role notification. This is something that you can turn on, and it says anytime one of your mentees or proteges signs up for a role, it will automatically let the mentor know. So think about how helpful that could be. Maybe you've got a brand new member, you just assigned them a mentor, and say they went out on the website and they signed up to be timer. If you've got this set, then it would send the mentor an email that says, so-and-so has signed up to be timer. If I were their mentor, I might want to call them or email them or, see if they're okay with the role. They've never done it before. I might just want to connect with them and talk to them about it. So it's a good way to just automatically get a notification anytime your mentee signs up for something. Okay, so that can be very, very helpful.
Great.
We'll show you all of those things. All right, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is the mentor protege request form, and it is on the Free Toast Host site on the homepage. It is under the members only section, so you do have to be logged in order to see this. But it is actually a pretty nice form, because if you look at this, and I hope you all can read it, this doesn't have to just be proteges. The first two things say, yes, I would like to mentor a new member, or yes, I would like to mentor a more experienced member. So you could have possible mentors send you a form, or if a new member signs on, they can say, I'm a new member and I would like to have you assign a mentor for me. It just gives you a written version of their request. The other thing I like about this is if you look at the section toward the middle, I'm available to work with my mentor mentee, and you can check all that apply. So you may want to do emails or phone calls or meet before the meeting or after the meeting. And it's also got comments. So you may say, and your mentee may say, I prefer to be contacted via text. Then you have all of that documentation that can help whoever's managing your mentor program understand and be able to maybe connect people together, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's just something any member can fill out, send to you, and then they would submit it. Now, once they submit it, where does it go? Good question. That's something you have to set up. So we saw the mentor mentee form. You would go into email and contact forms. We're going to do that. And when I do that, I can see that there is a mentoring form all the way to the side. And this is what it is. This is to assign who gets notified when somebody completes that mentor mentee form. Okay. This club actually has it set up to go to the Vice President Education. You can see how it's set up there. But something that they added recently is if you select that drop down, this is what you would see. You can actually assign this to another officer, or the thing that they have added recently is that you can assign this to any of your members. So if you think about how you could use this, maybe you have a member who's not a club officer who has volunteered to help the VPE with mentoring. They're going to be the mentoring chair, right? I don't know if a lot of your clubs have a mentoring chair. When Henry County had a real effective mentoring program, we had a mentoring chair who helped us keep up with all of this. And it helped the VPE out so that the VPE didn't have all that responsibility. But this is saying that you can set it up so that even a member can start getting those mentor-mentee forms, okay? All right. So that can be very helpful if you want to have a mentor chair or a mentor committee. We've done that before where you have, a team of people working, and by all means, let that mentoring chair get pathways credit for doing that. Okay. Now, one other thing on this form that we're looking at, and you can see the mentoring form is over on the very right-hand tab. This says, give this member the access to assigned mentors. So not only do they get the report, they have the ability to assign mentors and mentees together. So they have control over the whole mentor program. And it really just, it can help you take some of the work off the VPE and give it to somebody who's really focused and concentrating on the mentoring program. Does that make sense? Yeah. So not only are they getting the report or the form, they can actually then go in and assign people together. So say, for example, they know that Debbie Thompson will be a mentor to someone, and one of our president will be a mentor to someone, and somebody comes in and gives her a request. They may automatically say, well, Debbie's told me, they get in touch with me and say, is this okay? And sure, it's fine. But they have then the authority to go in and make those assignments. And they do not have to have the password, the administrative password at all. Checking this box will give them access to do what they need to do without having any kind of additional passwords.
That's great.
So this can be very, very nice if you want to have, you know, a focused person doing this stuff. So let me show you what these things look like. Okay, I have access because I checked the box and I am the VPE, but I have access to assign mentors. It comes up under my members only section. And
Oh,
if I sign in as Debbie Thompson and not as the administrator, I don't have to do anything else. It's going to come up as an option on my members only section. If it does, and I click on that, this is what I get. There's a screen that says, select the mentee. There's a drop down that has all your members. Excuse me. There's a drop down then that has all your members. So you select the mentee and you select the mentor. Excuse me, guys. Then there is a button here that says send the assignment notification email. And I always check that because, excuse me. Oh, got something in the throat. I always check that because it sends an email to both the mentor and the mentee saying you've been assigned to each other. And we'll see a sample of that in just a second. All right. So we talked about how we can have any of the officer, the VPE, we can assign any of the officers, or we can actually assign a club member to do all of this. There are also some other ways that you can assign mentors. One way is actually through your profile, your personal profile. So this is Debbie Thompson's profile. I don't have a lot in here, but you'll see there's a section where I can actually request a mentor at this point. There's a drop down. I would select somebody. Now, as a new member, that might be something I would do. So I could do it from the form or I could do it from here. Okay, so that's my profile. I can also assign mentors through membership management. And that is where we set up all of this is where we link to who is our president, who is our VPE, who is our VPM, who is our VPPR. This is how we link those people. Remember when we said they're a president, when new officers are elected, this is where you go in and make the updates to say Dana is no longer president. She is going to be our secretary or whatever. So you would redo these officer lists so they would be matched up to the right officers. I did remove emails and phone numbers so they wouldn't be recorded to protect everybody's. But if we want to add member and mentee assignments, we can do it from membership management. There is a drop down. It says membership tools over on the left. There's a drop down. If we select that, we can see that there's an option from here that says assign member mentors. Okay. If we select it from here, we get exactly the same screen we got before to assign the mentors, the mentee, the mentor. And then again, I would check that box because what it does is it sends both of them an email that says you have been paired together. It also, let me show you, that you can also run the member reports from here. And I'll show you those in just a second. So that can be huge. You can manage all of this from this one little drop down, and it can be very helpful. Again, if you assign it to a member, they have no special passwords or authority. It just gives them this one little module that they have access to. Okay. All right. This is the email, a copy of the email that your mentee and mentor get if you check that box that we just looked at. This is very nice because what you're doing is you're telling the mentor and mentee that you have been partnered together. It gives the contact information, the emails, the phone numbers, so they can take this information right here and get in touch with their mentee or mentor, and you've got it all in one email. So this can be very nice. And that's why I always suggest if you do make assignments, check that box so they get an email about it. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at reports. And I remember when we had a mentor program in Henry County, I could not keep up with who had assigned to who. It was terrible. But Free Toast Host lets you do it all from here, and it has reports for you. So I wanted to show you those. We go into membership management. We would select the tools and it gives us a drop down, and then you can see it has membership reports. If we select that, then there's several reports we can pick from. One of them is members and their mentors. So this is one view. You can select that. It also allows you to print the report, but this is the report that it gives you back. If you can see this, and it is a little small, but what it's done is listed every member in our club over on the left-hand side. And then if they have a mentor on the right-hand side, it lists who they're being mentored by. So I can tell that Daryl, for example, is mentored by Debbie. I can tell that Jocelyn is mentored by Nikki. It's just a really good way to see, who's partnered together as mentor-mentee. Okay?
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, there's another report that's called Mentors and Their Proteges. So it just gives you a different view, and you can print this. So let's look at that view. This can be very helpful because, again, it's listed all of the members on the left, but this one tells you everybody that Samiko is mentoring. She is mentoring 3 people, Kelly, Nikki, and Victoria, right? I can see that Nikia is mentoring Jocelyn and Samiko. This can be helpful if you're making assignments. And I might look at this and say, Samiko's already got 3 people. I don't want to assign her someone else because she's already mentoring a lot of people. I'm going to assign this next one to Debbie. She's only mentoring 1. Okay. So it's 2 views of the same information, but it can be very helpful to help you understand how to make assignments, who's partnered with who, and it's just a really good report that you can run and print.
That's awesome.
Okay. This is just showing you the mentor protege email again. If you wanted to send all the proteges a message about new member orientation training, you don't even have to know who they are. You can take this email address and send them all an email with an invite or a Zoom on it. And anybody who signed up on that report would get this.
Okay.
All right, the one last thing about mentoring, there's a tool that can help you notify the mentor if the mentee has signed up for anything. And so to do that, this is the administration console. It's one of the drop-down options, and it's the meeting agenda settings. So think about that. When they're signing, if you're using the agendas to sign up for roles like speeches and grammarian and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
then you can use this to notify the mentor when the mentee signs up for a role. But you do that, you set it up in meeting agenda settings. Okay.
Okay.
If we select that, then you'll see over at the left, we're in member meeting agenda settings. We're under global settings. So this is global. But if you look here, it is notification settings. There's one that says notify the following people when a member takes a meeting role. Okay. If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see that this particular club has the VPE, the Toastmaster, and the member's mentor set up to notify. Okay. So you do have to set up. And if you think about that, this is a great option because, if you have it off, you may want to turn it on because it lets your VPE know if somebody takes a role, so they can kind of keep track of that. It lets your Toastmaster know if somebody takes a role. And then of course it lets your mentor know. So if you want to, like I said, if maybe a protege or a new member has taken on the on-counter role and they've never done it before, you might want to just pick up the phone and call them and say, are you comfortable? Do you have any questions about this? I just want to help you. It's just a really good way, I think, of, helping manage your mentor-mentee relationships. There's also one that says, please notify when a member drops a role. So again, this is just kind of partnered together. Maybe they took a role accidentally and then they drop it. This would let the same people know that, well, they took it, but they dropped it. So it lets you know anytime, maybe you got 3 speakers and 2 of them drop roles, and your Toastmaster certainly is happy to know that. Your VP is happy to know that. And then your mentor can follow up and find out maybe why they weren't able to take the role or whatever.
Mhm.
There's one that you can notify when a member confirms. Now, this particular club doesn't get notification for those, and that's fine. You can set that up. They didn't want all these emails going back and forth. They just set it up for taking a role and dropping a role. Okay. So
Oh,
they didn't for confirming. So this is another place you may want to take a look, and you can assign different people. But like I said, this club has VPE, the Toastmaster, and the mentor who would get notifications.
okay.
That can be really, really helpful. And here's just when you see the drop down, you would, click the box that says members, mentor, and this would send them the information. All right. Any mentor tool questions? I know we've gone over a lot of stuff, but it can be very, very, very helpful if you have, if you're starting up a new mentoring program this year, or you've already got a very strong program, there may be some tools that you can use here that would help.
You
Okay.
know, Debbie, this is very helpful, and I wish that I had known about it sooner, but anyway, I know about it now going forward. And I like software it just has one meeting. When I was mentoring, well, and as I mentor, I always encourage my mentees to sign up for 3 meetings in that same role. So that number 1 would have been 3. And so they would not have had to go in and do it. So that's good, because I found that if they do it on a consistent basis, they get the hang of it a lot better. They learn the role scripts a lot better. And so that's great. That's awesome. I've never seen this before, but thank you so much for highlighting that.
Well, and Gloria, that's a good point. You can change that 1 to be 5. I know a lot of clubs try to stress with their members, don't just sign up for the next meeting, sign up for 2 or 3 out. So I'll be a timer here, a speaker here, so you can change this number and say, I want to know for the next 5 meetings or the next 2 or whatever. This is just set up for 1, but that's an option that you can set.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. All right, good deal. Okay, so we wanted to let you know about some of the upcoming training. There's the next session in November is going to be totally about agendas, how you set them up, how you update, how you maintain, some tips about how to use those. We've got membership management in December, and you can see from this list, Jennifer, we'll have to put this in an email or put notification on maybe the newsletter. We do have an open session in March that we want to possibly send out a survey and get your thoughts on things you want us to cover. Even if it's something we've covered before, but you ran across some problems or things like that, you can send in your questions, and then we'll set up the meeting according to what you guys need. Then in April is open. We're going to have to figure out what we're doing then, but we have in May some advanced techniques. And then in June, we wanted to talk about the changing of the guard. You have a new VPPR, for example, or you have a new VPE. How do we make sure all of these things get transitioned to the new officers? And are there things you need to be aware of? So those are the meetings coming up if you want to do a print screen, or we will definitely be letting everybody know about the training. And then I wanted to give you our contact information if you want to take a picture here or take a print screen. This is my email address and Jennifer's email address. You probably have it already, but that's okay.
No, you can't have it enough.
We have it.
Okay. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Free Toast Host support because it is not supported by Toastmasters International, and it is
Yeah.
something that I wanted you all to know about, and I wanted you to know how to open a ticket if you ever need to. My experience has been, and I think that's time for our little demo. So I'm going to go into, let's see, I'm going to go into Henry County again. Let me share this with you guys. All right. So can everyone see now we're back at the Henry County website?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm logged in as administrator and as myself, but that's fine. If you look under the members only section, down here at the bottom, you'll see something that says website support documents and website support forums. So these can be very helpful. I'm not sure if you've ever looked at them before, but we're going to take a look at them tonight. They actually they have different home pages, but they take you to exactly the same thing. So I'm just going to press support forums. All right, so can everyone see this Free Toast Host version 3?
Yes.
All right. If you look across the top, you've got different tabs. You've got a home page. This just tells you about Free Toast Host. It's some background information. There are forums, and I'm not sure you can see these, but when I hover on forum, I'm getting support requests, general discussion, new features, tips and tricks. They have a tab that says evaluate the website. So if you have some suggestions for them, you can send them suggestions. There is some documentation feedback if you think documentation is out of date or needs some help. New features is kind of nice because if they've got new features, they're updating things all the time. If they got new features, they'll let you know about this. But you'll see there's support requests. So these are all the tickets that are out there. Let's take a look for a second. All right. So if you scroll down, these are all the tickets. They've been very, very busy. Most of them I think are locked and completed, but oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. But this can be very helpful if you're trying to search on something and you want more information. There's a tab up at the top that says how to use Free Toast Host. So there's a quick start guide. It is very good. There are glossary of terms. What does this mean? There are some documentation listings. It's very nice if you have a question and maybe you want to see if they've got a solution out here. But the quick start page is very good for somebody who hasn't set up Free Toast Host before. It tells you a lot of things about how to set it up. There's a blog. This is pretty much information they have put out, the developers have put out, and you can see it hadn't been updated since 2017. So it's not very There's a tab called Meet Our Team. These are the developers that are working on Free Toast Host. Bo Bennett was one of the founders. These are, technical people, ambassadors, people who will be answering your tickets and helping you with Free Toast Host. It's kind of nice to see names and faces with that. I just read an article that they hit their 10,000th club that has joined Free Toast Host. So they're doing pretty good. This is where I can update my profile I think I just have my name. You can do a signature here, but it's also got my tickets. We'll see that in a minute. So if you want to open a ticket, you do have to create, let me log out and I'll show you. Okay. If you want to open a ticket, then you have to register. I would have to give them a username and a password. Do write it down because I have forgotten many times. But this is my user ID and I'm going to enter my password. So you would have to sign up if you've never done a ticket before. You would have to create an account with them. And let's see. I'm going to log in. Now, because I've logged in, hi, Debbie Thompson, it knows who I am. I'm going to go back to the forum, though, that says support requests. This is where I do tickets. Okay, now my user ID is highlighted. I can go here. So this is all the tickets by anybody, but I can go to my name and click there, and this will show me my tickets, my personal tickets. All right. Well, I thought it would. Let's see. Maybe I did. There we go. Okay. So over here, you can see that I've opened 3 tickets in my lifetime. The very first one is, and I opened this 45 minutes ago and I've already gotten 2 replies by somebody. Okay. I opened this ticket 8 years ago and this ticket 10 years ago. So it's been a while, but I was going to say they're very responsive about responding to your tickets.
Hmm.
Okay. So my ticket was saying that, okay, explicit consent. Okay. They're very conscious. So this is what I said. I'm Henry County. Here's my club number, but I wanted to use some of the officers on a business card so I wouldn't have to keep reprinting them. And I tried to do that and it didn't work. What's wrong? So they are responding back to me. Oh, and sorry, I can't get it to scroll. They responded back to me in less than an hour, it looks like. So I'm going to read through this and see what they tell me to do. But like I said, they're very cautious about email addresses and sharing and security and things like that. So he's telling me I will be very cautious about sending me emails to an officer email for other clubs without their explicit consent. So he is being very conscientious. Again, the way I wanted to use it though was for my own club members, but it was so they could hand out business cards at a conference and then those people could get in touch with them. So this would be, you might want to be cautious about handing out those business cards if you even choose to do that. But this is just showing you that within minutes, actually, I got my ticket responded to. And if I was having a big problem, they are so helpful here to be able to tell you exactly what you need to do. And so this is a good resource if you have something wrong on your website or you're trying something and it's not working. I would say the first line of defense is call Debbie or email Debbie.
Mhm.
And then if we can't figure it out, we may open a ticket on it. But I just
want to say thank you very much for this information because I hadn't a clue as to where to go. And we don't always want to bother Debbie when we can go to this support system. And I definitely so much appreciate it. Thank you so much for this information.
You are very welcome. And I find sometimes you can go in and search for things. I found sometimes that search doesn't always find me what I'm really looking for, but it can be very helpful because you may you may see somebody with a very similar problem than you're having, and you could read their response and say, oh, okay, that fixes it. So it's just a resource for you because TI doesn't support free toast host. This is a way, like you said, Lorraine, that you can get information, open tickets, get responses and things like that if you're having any kind of problems.
Okay.
All right, so I think we have 1 minute. I thought we have a little bit more time. We have a minute for questions, but I'm willing to stay on if you have any question about what we just talked about.
No, I just like to say everything has been very fruitful and I definitely use it going forward. It's going to help me be a better Toastmaster. So thank you, and Jennifer, so much.
All right. Well, you're very welcome. Hopefully you guys can use some of the mentor tools and using some of these emails can be very helpful within your club. So very good.
And I also want to add that I go to Free Toast Host, but I pick and choose evident, there are 10, 20, 15 categories, and I look at 2 or 3 of them. And now I'm going to look at the bulk of what they have to offer to us. And I have not done that in the past. And now I see that there is so much information there that I'm very happy with what you presented to us this evening, and thank you so much for the information.
Very good. Well, thank you, Lorraine. And again, it can be very practical if you're keeping a list of guests that attend, rather than just totally losing their emails and not being able to contact them again. If you have somebody that can go in and set them up in the guest list or the guest email, then when it comes to free open house or any, even a meeting, you can say, you visited our club, we'd love for you to come again. It's just a great way to keep up with some of those things without having to lose emails.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you guys very much. If you do see a survey coming out from us about things that you'd like to hear in one of our other meetings, please send us information, anything you want to find out about, or you tried something and it didn't exactly work the way I said. I'll be glad to go back over that kind of thing and help you with it.
All right, will do.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you, Jennifer, for the reminder of tonight's meeting.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Debbie, for
Thank you.
inviting
Thank
me.
you again.
You're welcome. All right,
Bye,
everyone.
Deb.
So thank you again, Debbie. And tomorrow at night is the freebie tech. We're going to try it out and see if it works on Thursday. If not, then ladies, we'll be back to Friday again on the first Friday. So tomorrow night is freebie tech Friday. Freebie tech
Okay.
training. Bring your questions. I'll be ready. Have a great night, everybody.
Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.